We don't really take enough time to acknowledge this or realize this, but play is one of the most important practices that we can do in our lives, and it has a profoundly healing effect on our lives. Hi, my name is Leah Chantel, and today I'm talking about why play is so important. And I touched on this a little bit on other social media platforms about why we become needy and why we sabotage our personal relationships or even our relationships at work. And it's because our inner child hasn't been taken care of. So when we experience a trauma when we're young, our mind can kind of go back there as a significant event, and we kind of get stuck at moments in our lives in that developmental phase where we were traumatized as children. So if we're traumatized at the age of 6 by something, our minds can unconsciously go back to that and then give our inner child over to some authority figure that we're trying to seek approval from, whether that's a potential partner or a boss. We give our inner childs to them, hoping that they're going to take care of us, that they're going to give us the approval if we work hard enough, or that they're going to somehow give us the love that we've been seeking if we just put our hearts out there and share everything with them. And truthfully, that doesn't work. You know, the way that we actually receive love is to give love to ourselves first and take care of our own inner child rather than go around to everyone else hoping that they're going to take care of our inner child. And so we need to make a decision and make that a priority from our authentic selves as inner adults. We need to figure out what feeds our inner child. You know, I had this interesting traumatic event at 2 years old, maybe even younger, one that I'll share with you, and that is coming from the family pet. When I was a very small child, my parents had this cat that was not the most friendly cat, and I had this traumatic event as a very small child where I desperately wanted to play with the cat and feel love from the cat, but the cat just wasn't interested. It's like, that's the nature of cats. And I actually suffered a trauma when I was 1 or 2 years old from that. And it kind of stayed with me, you know, even though it was a cat of all things. There was this part of me that really wanted to feel love from animals, and that probably had a really profound influence on me and the decisions that I made in terms of my diet and how I treat animals. But that whole wound started to heal actually when I adopted my cat Greta so many years ago. I really needed that healing and to feel that love from a cat and to understand love with a cat because I had been so badly traumatized as a child by my parents' cat. And actually, that's one of the sources of love and play that I go to as an adult, is I'll go and visit my cat. She lives with my parents now because I recognize that she loves their neighborhood and she loves to play with the neighbors in that neighborhood when the weather is good. So I love her enough to let her do that, even though I miss her. But I will go and visit with her, and that's a form of self-love that I give myself when I go and connect with her and spend time with her. And I spend time with my dad's dog too, because of course she's totally loving and I love dogs as well. But that whole experience of healing from trauma, of not feeling love from a cat, I realized that probably could have followed me into my adulthood and manifested even in my relationships romantically, right? It's like there's this part of me that's so needy that didn't get the love that I was hoping for when I was a child from the cat and didn't get to play in the way that I'd hoped, that I was hoping to give that inner child to somebody else to take care of, and that I would receive that play and that love. And I realized that what I actually needed to do instead is take that 1 or 2 year old back and say, hey, you know, this was a cat, and cats are not always that friendly and playful, and this was not your fault. You know, this was not something you can control as a child. But what I need to do instead is take time to play and take time to experience love in ways that are productive and loving as an adult, and to prioritize that. Whenever I go visit my cat, you know, and connect with her, that is a profoundly healing experience for me. But sometimes even the cat that I currently have, she's a very loving cat, but she's still a cat and she gets saturated and doesn't want any more love and cuddles after a certain period of time. And so that is a constant life lesson for me too, that when she's finished, I need to let go and let her be a cat and have her space. But it's so funny that a cat could give me such a profound life lesson. Usually as humans, we get our life lessons from other humans or from our parents. But I realized in reflection recently that I got a lot of really big life lessons from cats. And that's why I have so much respect for animals, because they can teach us things that are just as profound as lessons we can learn from humans. And so I believe our connection with animals can be very important and very critical. And that's why animal communication is so popular, actually. When you study New Age books and intuition and mediumship, you'll find out a very popular topic as people will try to practice mediumship with their pets that have passed, because they had such a profound connection with their pet while they were alive, that connection the person wants to continue even after the pet has passed. And so we shouldn't underestimate the power and the connection that we receive from animals. Sometimes we receive love more deeply from them than we do from other humans. And that's okay. Some people will criticize that and say you shouldn't treat an animal better than a human. You shouldn't be spending more money at the vet or dressing them up or grooming them. And I would say to that, that's just not true. Not everybody gets to experience love as profoundly and deeply as they'd hoped from other humans. And so pets can be a really wonderful resource to experience compassion and love in your life and receive it back. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think if pets are doing that for other people, then they deserve to be treated with love and respect like little mini humans, you know? If they're serving their humans, then yeah, they should get more respect and more love from humans. Because the more we can love more openly and more deeply, even if it's with an animal rather than another human, the more likely we can do that for another human. And that's why animals can be of such profound service to us in learning, teaching us how to open our hearts and love more deeply. But my point at the beginning of the video that I wanted to talk about was that we need to really open our hearts, actually. And that's basically what our life lessons all in the end really teach us, is that we have to learn ways to love more profoundly and more deeply. And of course, with boundaries, we don't want to do it from a people-pleasing or approval-seeking type of place. We don't want to love more deeply by giving our inner childs over to someone who doesn't take care of them and appreciate them. Rather, the deep love and compassion that we're learning to provide to others has to come to ourselves first as individuals. When we learn to really deeply love ourselves and have compassion for ourselves and our choices, even when we've screwed up and we've made mistakes, but we realize it was coming from a good place where we were trying to do what we thought was right at the time, then we're able to give that love to others as well in a really genuine place, because we've given that love to ourselves and forgiven ourselves first. And as I'm talking these words, I'm actually feeling a lot of love and forgiveness for some choices recently that I made that caused me to be silly and burn out. I burned out a while ago by doing too many things and taking on too much responsibility, and then burning out and catching COVID. And I felt so mad at myself. I felt so fearful that I'd screwed up my life, and I didn't post, and there were so many things I didn't do that I should have done, and I was mad at myself. And I'm realizing as I'm talking about this life lesson about our inner childs and how to take care of them and experience love and experience play as a form of healing and self-care, that we really need to prioritize that. That really is the antidote to fear and over-analysis and being paralyzed by, you know, so many deadly things that could come up and potentially terrorize us. Most of these deadly things are things that live in our brains, and they don't really come to life. They never really come to pass. But when we live in fear of them, then yes, it's more likely that something negative is going to come to pass. And that's why we have to practice self-love. We have to take time to play and have positive experiences and go out for a walk or go out into nature and just be happy. You know, when we take that time to truly be happy and take care of our inner childs, then we're going to be in a good place to give love to somebody else from a really genuine place. I hope you enjoyed my video this week about how to love yourself more deeply and prioritize play as a form of self-love and enjoy the things that you loved as a child. And it also gave a little lesson about animals and their profound healing impact on humans, which I didn't think would come up, but it did, and I'm so glad that it did. And I think I'm going to go spend some time with my cat now that I've talked about it. I hope you're all having an amazing week, and take care. Bye now.